night, what a night. Oh gosh, what a night. I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good.
Sakwase, beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media. You're listening to Goal Diggin with Dagmar, and I'm your host, Dagmar Demore, your Carolina's agent. Unlock your dream home with me, award-winning realtor and author of the critically acclaimed book, The Complete Guide to Buying a Home. Get the best buying, selling, and investment advice to find your dream property. Call 704-750-0088 or visit yourcarolinasagent.com. That's yourcarolinasagent.com, unlocking the home of your dreams. Today's show is being brought to you by Direct Solution Resources. Project management is the art and science of doing what you've never done before. That's why projects are so critical to your organization's evolution. Direct Solution Resources' innovative project management consultants are here to support you in delivering exceptional programs and projects. Whether rescuing a project that has gone off course or developing methodologies to enable future project success, they have the expertise and the track record of getting you there. To learn more about how DSR solves its customers' toughest project management problems with speed, precision, and impact, visit directsolutionresources.com. Latoya Counts is a management and leadership development lead for Oracle, where she is responsible for driving business through people and organizational development across North America. A graduate of FAMU, Latoya holds a bachelor's degree in business administration and a master's degree in human resource management. Latoya authored the bestseller, The 7-Step Transition from Student to Professional, a self-help guide for high school and college students seeking to enter the corporate world. She conducts seminars on leadership and development and interview skills throughout the country and has consulted several colleges and organizations. Truly a servant leader, Latoya has worked with numerous organizations, including the Charlotte chapters of FAMU alumni, Network of Executive Women, and the National Sales Network, as well as the Union County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated Queen City Chapter. Latoya recently opened a Trinity's Day Spa Pampering for Kids franchise in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Latoya, it is a pleasure having you on Goal Diggin with Dagmar.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. There is no single answer to what is leadership. Tony Robbins states, leadership is the ability to inspire a team to achieve a certain goal, and leadership is also how you as an individual choose to lead your life. Leadership is to influence, inspire, and help others become their best selves, building their skills and achieving goals along the way. When we return from break, we will delve into the topic of leadership with Latoya Counts, leadership and professional development consultant. Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through free TuneIn Radio app and through iHeartRadio. You're listening to Goal Diggin with Dagmar, and I'm your host, Dagmar Demore. You can connect with me on Facebook as Dagmar Demore Realtor, on Instagram at Your Carolina's Agent, and on the web at yourcarolinasagent.com. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing leadership with Latoya Counts, leadership and professional development consultant. Latoya, many people think they have a clear understanding of what leadership is. However, in your opinion, what's one misconception around what leadership means?
You know, a lot of times people don't understand that leadership is about bringing people together to achieve a common goal. And so I think a misconception is that people think that once they get into a leadership position, that they are responsible, individual responsible for actually achieving that goal, versus it's really not about the leader. It's about the people that are, that's following them, that's under them, right?
Okay.
And so that's a huge misconception, is that folks think in the leadership position that now they have this power, like I need to do this. And that's not what it is at all. A true leader is able to get people together and truly lead people to achieve a common goal. Like they
Okay.
have to be able to work together.
Okay. And is it a constant inspiring of the people that are on your team? Um, what are some of the responsibilities of a leader once they've attained that role?
Absolutely. So your goal as a leader is really to advance your team or your
Okay.
people, right? You want to be sure that they are growing as a person, whether it's professionally or personally. And so once you're able to get them together and actually achieve that goal, then you have the responsibility to actually be sure that they are now manifesting whatever dreams or goals that they have individually. And so that's why it's never really about the leader. They actually have a really tough job if they're actually good leaders,
Okay.
because you now have to spend some pretty in-depth time with each person on your team or in your group,
Okay.
to understand what makes them tick, what motivates them, how can I help them actually get to the next level. And so that's what's next.
Okay, that's great. So based on your answer, I'm led to believe that leaders can be made. They're not born with it.
And so there's both, right? You do
Mhm.
have people, you see them and you're like, oh my goodness, they are a natural born leader, right? No matter what they touch, what they're involved in, they naturally, evolve to this particular position. But lots of leaders are made.
Okay.
Right? Lots of leaders are made,
Mhm.
and they're made from other good leaders.
That is great. That's great. And one thing that we talk about here and I share with my audience have been my failures, my past failures. And I do believe that we learn a lot from our failures and it's definitely needed to be successful. Can you share some of your biggest failures as a leadership and how that has helped develop you?
Yeah, probably one of my biggest failures was I was given a promotion, and I took on a role where I was managing a $300 million portfolio.
Okay.
And things were looking really good, going into the role, but personal things started to happen in my life, right? I was going through a divorce, right? And I started to have some medical issues. I was having mammograms and biopsies, and it totally took a toll on my job to the point where I was failing. And I didn't want to admit it because I'd never been in that position before. However, everyone around me knew that I was failing. And so what I learned from that particular scenario or that position was that my managers failed me in that, my leaders failed me. And then now I know what to do in those particular situations, right? In order for me not to let my professional, life or my personal life take over professionally, right? But in those moments, I learned what good leaders should have done for me instead of saying, okay, you're not doing well. Let me get you out of this position. Right. So they were not taking the time to know what was going on with me, what was leading me to this, because in the past, my performance was great. That's why I got the promotion. Right. But once those personal things started to happen, and that's why I say I work for managers because there's a difference between a manager and a leader.
Yes. Can you explain?
Yes. So I say those were managers in that particular situation because all they were worried about was the business. Right?
Yes.
They were managing the business. We have to get this done. We have to get this done. Leaders manage people. Right?
Okay.
So that's why I said I didn't have any leaders in that position in that time. And so I always said, I don't ever want to be that.
Okay.
Ever. I don't ever want people to, under me. Right. And so that's to me, that moment in time taught me also that personally, like I have to have some type of regimen and that sort of thing. So I don't let my professional life, go down the drain. So I started to invest in like therapy and counseling, things that help you get through life, because life's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
Right?
It does not stop.
Life is coming at you. Okay.
Yes,
No matter what
yes.
you're doing professionally, life is coming. So you have to do those things for yourself in order to still kind of maintain. But that's what I would say. I completely failed at that, but I learned a lot from it.
Okay. So I hear that you learned how to deal with that on your personal failures. I wouldn't call it a failure, right? And I wouldn't call the professional part of what you experience of failure as well. But for the sake of the show,
Yeah.
we'll use the word failure. So you've used those experiences not only to help you become a better leader in managing all of these things in your life and compartmentalizing so that they don't spill into another area, you've also used what you've learned to lead other people and to
Absolutely.
inspire other
Yes.
people.
Yes.
So that leads me to my next question, which is, there's an importance in us having mentors and having other people that we emulate or, look to for advice. Do you have any of those in your life?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So first would be my mother, of
Okay.
course. My mother has 3 biological kids and raised 6 kids or 3 other kids, my cousins. And so off of a high school education. So
Okay.
I've watched her my whole life go through, take things that folks would just totally say, I can't do it, and find a way, like completely find a way. So I learned my perseverance from my mother.
Okay.
No matter what, she was going to find a way, like no matter what. So I'm going to start with her. But the next person was a professor at FAMU. Her name is Dr. Gail Tompkins.
Okay.
And I always say that FAMU changed my life, but really Dr. Tompkins changed my life.
Wow. Okay.
And because she was able to help me tap into who I really wanted to be.
Okay.
Right. And so I think that's why I love actually talking to college students as well, because a lot of times you get to college and you're like, you're just there, you're just hanging out. But she really took some time, invested in me for me to figure out what do you really want to do?
Okay.
Right. What are those things? And so as I evolved and went on to my career, she is my mentor. I call her to this day.
Okay, that
she
is great.
Still my mentor.
Okay.
I call her for all kinds of things. And so professionally, even going into my first leadership role where I had to manage a team, I was on the phone with her. What are things that I can do? And the cool thing about her is that she never really gives me an answer, right? She just gives me things to think about, right?
Okay.
Because she was like, I want this to be your experience. So you have enough. So she always tells me you have what you need already.
Okay.
You just need to kind of talk it out.
Yes.
So I would definitely say my mother is an inspiration to me, definitely someone I look up to, and Dr. Tompkins for sure.
Okay, that is great. That's great. I love this discussion that we're having. I find it to be very inspirational and informative. However, we do have to take a quick break. Welcome back. You're listening to Goal Diggin with Dagmar, and I'm your host, Dagmar Demore, your Carolina's agent, unlocking the home of your dreams. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing leadership with Latoya Counts, leadership and professional development consultant. Latoya shared with us her biggest failure that has led her to become a better leader, as well as some myths and misconceptions when it comes to what leadership means. And she also shared that her mother and her college professor are her biggest inspirations. Latoya, what is one lesson that your career has taught you that you think that everyone should learn at some point in their lives?
I truly believe that who you were yesterday does not define who you are today or who you'll be tomorrow. And I think that everyone should figure that out eventually. There's so many people that hold themselves hostage to what happened in the past. So I tell people, if you haven't talked to me in like a year, then you don't know me, right? Because you have to continue to evolve.
Absolutely.
Right? And so the one thing I try to help people understand is that don't hold yourself hostage to what happened before or what happened yesterday. And I say that because I talk to leaders. That's what I do every single day, from frontline managers all the way up to SVPs. And a lot of times leaders have this like misconception even that they have to be perfect, or oh, I can't say something wrong, or I'm going to make a mistake, and I'm like, you're human, right?
Yes.
You're going to be in a meeting, you're going to misquote or say something, whatever. You have to let that go, right? You can't carry that on to the next meeting and then the next week, or that sort of thing. As well as if you're leading people, you're gonna mess up. Everyone's not the same. Everyone's not gonna take the same feedback, right? folks have different incentives of why they're working and what they're doing. And so you're going to make mistakes. The cool thing about it, though, is that if you're truly striving to be better every single day, you have to be okay with saying, I made a mistake or I misquote or whatever that is, but I want to move forward. And
Okay.
you can't hold yourself hostage.
Okay. That's great advice. That's great. One last question I'm going to ask. Well, I'm going to ask you two more questions, but this is important to me because I'm an introvert.
Mhm.
I'm a self-proclaimed introvert. You know, it's hard to believe. But so many people think that you have to be an extrovert, you have to be loud and boisterous to be a leader or because you need to command this presence. Um, is there anything that you can share with people that are introverted, that are a little bit more quieter? They're quieter in the room, but they do have these leadership skills, or they have a desire to be a leader someday.
Yeah. So leaders aren't always the loud ones and that sort of thing. And it's really cool if you meet a few folks that's in the C suite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that everyone's not that. Right. They're folks, if you have a good company, their C suite's going to be very balanced.
Good.
Right.
Okay.
So you're going to have folks that are loud and they want to talk the whole time. And then you're going to have folks that are reserved. And I would say for folks that are introverts is that most of the time they're really good at the observation piece, right? They can
Yes.
observe and they can come back with great insights. And a lot of times that's what is needed. You don't need the
Okay.
people that always wants to talk, right?
Okay.
And for introverts that want to aspire to be leaders one day, that sort of thing, I would always say that, take some time to figure out what makes you a good leader, right?
Okay. That's
Because
great.
it's different for everyone. Everyone's going to
Mhm.
have, different characteristics, different competencies to make them a good leader. But I always say, even if you're an introvert, like managing is fine. It's easy to manage, actually,
Uh-huh.
because a lot of times people get promoted into leadership positions because they were so good at the last position, right?
Okay.
And maybe you were managing some type of business or organization or whatever it is. But when you're in your first job or position where
Mhm.
you actually have people responsibility, right? What does that mean to you?
Okay.
If you can figure that out, and then I always say, portray the leader that you want, right?
That's
You
great.
should always portray the leader that you want. And by your mid career, you've
Mhm.
reported to enough people to probably know
Yes.
what that is, right? And I tell people that I'm
Absolutely.
like, go back to the bosses where you were like, this was a great boss.
Yes.
But then figure out why they were so great. And
Okay.
I can probably tell you they were in tune with you personally, right? They understood what was important to you, what motivated you. So it wasn't about the overall goal or whatever they were shooting for.
Mhm.
They made you feel like you were an important part of the team.
Okay. Oh, I
Hmm.
love it. I love it. That's
Yeah.
great advice. So we agree that leadership is a skill that can be
Mhm.
developed. Can you share some books,
Yes.
if
Oh
any?
yeah.
Yes.
So the first book I want to share is called The Heart of a Leader: 52 Emotional Intelligent Insights to Advance Your Career. It's by
Okay.
Kristen Harper. So this book, and this is a book I use with all leaders.
Mhm.
So it really plays on your strengths. If you've heard of Strength Finders,
Yes.
yep. So most companies use
Yeah, I've
that and they're
taken a
like,
few. Yes.
yeah. And they're like, oh, these are your top 5. Well, what Kristen Harper did in this book was The Heart of a Leader is she took it to the next level, right?
Mhm.
For leaders. Like, how do you truly take advantage of your top 5 strengths in
Okay.
order to advance your career? So I know a lot of companies use it, but they
Mhm.
don't take it to that level. Also, in this book, what Kristen also goes into key details about how to truly manage a team once you know those 5 strengths,
Okay.
right? And how you can actually help your team progress in their careers.
Okay.
So I love that one for sure. The other one that I like as well. It's not necessarily about leadership, but it's Set Boundaries, Find Peace. A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself by Nedra Tawab. Do you
Oh,
know
I like,
Nedra?
yes, yes. I follow
Yeah.
her on Instagram.
Yes. So
Yes.
This is something that I now talk about in the workplace as well.
Really?
Because it's about setting boundaries and it's about finding peace. And I know hers is more about your personal life.
Yes.
But when you are, and I deal with leaders that are managing, $500 million portfolios and that sort of thing, and they need to be focused. And
True.
I'm like, you got to set some
Boundary.
boundaries, right?
Yes.
And so I kind of, put a little spin on it from a professional standpoint, but I love her. I love what,
Yes.
what she's doing to help people kind of find themselves. But you have to also do that in the professional world because you're going to drown. You can't be at work all day. You can't be in every meeting. So you have to set boundaries for yourself even, but for your team in order for you to be focused on what you need to be focused on and then continue to advance.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I support your book recommendations because I purchased the Black Women's Millionaire Workbook because of you, and it changed my life. So yes. So I will take any of your book suggestions and recommendations, and I will pick up those two.
Yes.
Books. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll talk about what you're working on and your new franchise and everything. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're wrapping up our discussion on leadership with Latoya Counts, leadership and professional development consultant. So thank you so much again for sharing such insight on what it takes to be a leader and some of the skills that we should have. What are you working on now?
So right now I am preparing from a professional standpoint with Oracle. We are going into our leadership development week, which is coming up in about 2 weeks. So right before we go out for the holidays. So I'm actually working on a presentation on big picture strategy for our senior leaders.
Okay.
And it's really just to help them refocus on the goals, refocus on the big picture, because sometimes they kind of get bogged down.
Yes.
In my other world, I almost 6 months ago, I launched a franchise, a kids spa, Trinity's Day Spa, and it's inside of Walmart in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And so I'm super excited about it. It gives us an opportunity not only to pamper the little girls and introduce them to that world, but we spend a lot of time empowering them as well and making sure that they understand that they are beautiful, inside and out, no matter what. So we talk about all kinds of things in the spa, right? So it's kind of like a hair salon, think about that. They come in and they share things about school, about family, so we find ourselves encouraging them on an upcoming math test or, telling them about their friends and making friends and that sort of thing if they're shy and that sort of thing. So love that for sure. But
That
we offer pampering services. We also do birthday parties, which is a hit for sure. So them to have a spa birthday party.
Okay. And what is the contact information for that?
Yep. So our website is trinitiesdayspa.com. The phone number is 803-366-8959. And then you can also email us at rockhill@trinitiesdayspa.com.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. It was always a pleasure to converse with you. As you progress in your life and career, you'll find the benefits of leadership touch all aspects of your life, including your work and your business, your relationships and family, your health, spirituality, and personal life. I leave you with these words from Vince Lombardi to start your week. Leaders aren't born, they are made. And they are made just like anything else through hard work. And that's the price we'll have to pay to achieve that goal or any goal. I'm grateful to everyone that tuned in, both locally and beyond. Don't hesitate to contact me if you need help finding a realtor in your listening area. Get the best buying, selling, and real estate investment advice. Visit yourcarolinasagent.com. Continue to tune in every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Please remember to connect with me by going to goaldigginradio.com. Follow me on all the socials at Goal Diggin Radio, including YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to be a guest on the show or want to learn more about advertising and sponsorship opportunities, email media@goaldigginradio.com. Shout outs to Visual Vibes Media for producing the audio and video for the show. You've been listening to Goal Diggin with Dagmar, and I'm your host, Dagmar D'Amour, your Carolina's agent, unlocking the home of your dreams. Until we speak next.
Oh gosh, what a night. I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause you're perfect.